Hello, everyone. So, you're in year 11 and you're doing one sheet revision homework tasks, and you're looking at your sheet and thinking, what do I do? Well, here is a little guide to what you should do when you're doing one sheet revision. I'm going to talk you through all aspects of the sheet. So, task one, summarize what the poem is about in full sentences. What's the poem about in full sentences? Well, let's say you've got the poem Ozymandias by Percy Shelley. Ozymandias is a poem about the ruins of a statue of a once great emperor found in the desert. The ruins symbolize how his power was never infinite and that nature will always win. It's a romantic poem. Romantic doesn't mean it's about love. It's a genre of poetry. So that's short summary sentences about what the poem is about. You can do that for your poem. And if you think I don't know that poem well enough, I would think one, why not? What you've been doing in lessons. Two, what can you do about it? There is so much out there, so much online that you'll find to help you with that. Task two, annotate the poem with points you can remember from your initial study. So reread the poem and think, right, okay, what do I remember? So, for example, from Ozymandias, I might remember something like, there's multiple narrators. I met a traveller from an antique land who said, immediately we've got two narrators there. We have a third narrator in line 10 with, my name is Ozymandias, King of Kings, when Ozymandias himself narrates. What else do I remember from my study of the poem? Well, I might remember the forceful words show the horror of his character. Lines in line 11, look on my works, ye mighty, and despair. He's clearly a rather unpleasant chap, Ozymandias. What else might I remember? I might remember the emptiness of the setting here in the desert shows how totally forgotten Ozymandias is. So I annotate it with what I remember from the poem. Task 3. Following questions. So I'm going to start one off with you, but this is about ones where you're going to have to find your answer to it. There might be a right answer. Question one has a right answer. Percy Bysshe Shelley is known as a romantic poet. What does this mean? A romantic poet was interested in, you go, you build that, look it up if you need to. And then you do the same for question 2 and 3, which are much more thinking questions. Task 4. Complete each analytical verb with a different idea. Now, every year, loads of students come back and say, don't understand this one. So let's show you. Start with the sentence. Percy Bysshe Shelley may have written the poem to criticise, or what? Put the sentence together again. Percy Bysshe Shelley may have written the poem to criticise the corrupting nature of power and those who hold too much power. What about to teach? Percy Bysshe Shelley may have written the poem to teach about the overwhelming power of nature. He was, of course, a romantic poet, and that was one of their big thematic concerns and ideas. Now, I don't mind. I don't really mind if you don't find a sentence to go with all 5 of those verbs. That might not be the right one for a certain poem. But I do want you to try and have a go, because this sort of sentence structure is an outstanding way to phrase things when you're in an exam situation. Task 5. Annotate the following quotations by answering the questions for each. What does the line mean? What does the line suggest on a deeper level? And how has Shelley used language to present power in Ozymandias? Well, let's look at the top one. Sneer of cold command. What does it mean? Well, his face seems quite unpleasant. He's sneering. Oh, that shouldn't say the same. Whoops, my mistake. That should say something along the lines of, it shows he is dismissive of other people. That's what it's meant to say there. And then how is his dismissive nature captured? Well, it's through the plosives of cold command. The alliteration of cold command implies a harshness and a dismissive nature. So his face seems unpleasant should be there, and the right one that should be, he seems to be very dismissive and arrogant towards people beneath him. Task 6, the final task. How does Percy Bysshe Shelley present power in Ozymandias? This gives you an overview on a chance to do a short piece of writing. Ideally include quotations. Why not build it using your paragraph structures you know? You make your point, you put your quote in, you explore it and explore interpretations. Multiple quotes are always good, particularly for poems. So I would start by, Shelley is criticising the nature of people who hold too much power. He encourages his reader to mock Ozymandias by... Okay, I hope this has been useful for you and teaches you how to go about doing one sheet poetry revision. There's no excuse not to now. See you later.